hat SEO is becoming a lot more difficult,
Okay.
which is getting mentioned, getting your brand into these AI overviews, writing excellent content. You're not being rewarded like you used to be, above board and be white hat, while black hats are absolutely delighted at the moment.
Hey lads, how's it going?
Not too bad, Ryan. How are you? How are you, Keen?
Good lads.
Good stuff,
Yeah.
good stuff. So we're back again after a bit of small hiatus, but we're back in for a new bit of news.
Do you know what? When coming up to Christmas now, all the campaigns and everything needs to be done, and then January getting started, everything again. I really admire people that can keep up with the routine of creating content. But look, we had too much client work on, so
Yeah.
good problem. But we do need to do these things.
Good to be back, though, huh?
Yeah.
Good to be back, but yeah, busy time of year. So we'll get straight into it there. And it was a good time, I think, to come back as well with the Google February 2026 Discover Core update.
Yeah, just in time for their news update. Google yesterday released core update for Discover. So this one it's kind of focusing specifically on how content is like found in Google Discover. They after saying that it's going to improve the experience in a few key ways. I think it's on screen there, including like showing more locally relevant content from websites, based in that country. I think the big thing is kind of reducing, sensationalist content and clickbait, and I suppose maybe to combat some of the AI things flooding into searches, like they're going to be highlighting more articles with more like in-depth, original, and timely content and research, and from sites with like demonstrated expertise in a given area. This like it's going to prioritize kind of local content. So I don't know if you are like a publisher who makes stuff like for global audiences, like I don't know, The Guardian or something like that, it might kind of impact traffic from outside your own country as it kind of expands. I think they're rolling out first to like English language users and in the US, but then it's going to like expand to everybody. Um,
So we might start getting more. Myself and Ryan might start getting more Cork BO
yeah, basically.
articles. While you might start getting WLR and Waterford content.
So yeah, exactly. Like, and I think I suppose from that point of view, like it's probably way better, because the amount of random shite you get, that has no relevance whatsoever. Like,
You might end up getting more Waterford Whisperers now. It could be the wrong thing.
but they also said that, like, they know obviously, and they can detect that, like, sites might talk about and have like a deep knowledge across a wide range of subjects. So obviously, like they're able to pick that up on a topic by basis, and then identify like the expertise there. So like say if you can still appear in Discover if you cover multiple topics rather, or if you focus on like a single topic. I think the example they gave was like you could be WLR or Cork BO and you could have a dedicated gardening section that has like established expertise in gardening, whereas like I don't know, a movie site might write about like a single article about gardening, but that wouldn't make them an expert.
Yeah.
And then the good news is it said that in testing, people found that Discover was more useful and worthwhile with the update. So we'll have to see what happens.
I remember when we were trying to do the strategy around it, it was very hard to do. Like at the start, we were doing the clickbaity stuff when we worked for that travel publication, a retirement publication. It was like the 12 best Caribbean islands, and you'd hope people were interested in the Caribbean would see it. But every now and then it'd work. But there was tactics around formatting. It was the image had to be a certain size and high quality to get
Yeah.
in there. You had to have a regular publishing schedule around the topics. So it was difficult to do. But I wouldn't build a strategy on featuring in Discover still. But that could change. It could become a very popular one for local businesses now.
Right, so next one here. So I threw this one in. So Google search hits 63 billion. So this is basically about the new ads that have been added to AI mode in Google, which is probably something that was always going to come eventually. So Google's testing ads below the AI responses in AI mode and piloting direct offers for shoppers ready to buy. So yeah, there's ads coming up now right under the AI mode answers in Google, which yeah, it's obviously working because search revenue grew 17%. So it's obviously been a success so far. But yeah, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see. I think if the other kind of LLMs like follow suit and stuff now. Uh,
And there is going to be a bit. There's a sample on the next slide, isn't there? The ad.
yeah. So so we got a sample here. You can kind of see what it looks like. This is
It's from
from.
Adweek.
But yeah, it's pretty in your face, like, isn't it? Kind of.
It's
Uh,
the first. It's like their publishers used to have the three slots. They've taken one away for ads already.
Yeah.
You can imagine there's going to be eventually it'll be like two ads and one organic position, and then how long until it's just three ads? And Google say, you have to go into the AI mode if you want to get the references. But it'll be interesting to see how this works. But look,
yeah.
ad revenues are going to. It was always going to be about ads.
Yeah.
To be honest, at some point I think we just become a Google Ads agency because it's absolutely mad. They're forcing it in every direction. So
But I think, yeah, you're right. Like, because it's not even at the top anymore. It's like in the middle of the page, at the bottom of the page. So, and then like with the other bits, the AI overviews, they throw in the discussion thing now with Quora and Reddit. So like you're losing a lot of spots in search. Like,
and even with PMax now as well, because like it used to be a tactic not to go after your own brand in a lot of Google ad campaigns because you don't want to pay for your own search volume. But now with all this happening, you're probably going to have to. And with PMax, it was very hard to exclude your own brand for a while. I know it's available now, but it just goes to show you Google are getting you on your own brand name. And maybe if you're featured in this AI mode under the own brand, they're still going to be able to trigger ads there now.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens with that going forward.
I threw this one in. I saw there on X there was Sam Altman was not too pleased about this ad. It says it's basically Anthropic released this Super Bowl ad, and it starts with this guy doing exercises in the park, and he's asking his phone, how do I bulk up and create a schedule, and the guy beside him reads it as an AI answer, is like, well, let me do that schedule for you, and I'll come up with a nutrition plan, and it gives you an exact, and I'll also do a training regime, and that'll get you in the right direction. And next thing you know, he asks another question, and he actually goes, oh, and just from our sponsor, you can actually buy this product if you do this. It's like he's trying to sell like protein powder or something. And it's just taking the mick out of how ads are going to be in ChatGPT now and OpenAI. But it'll be interesting to see. It's a good play.
Yeah, it does feel kind of genius.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely at
yeah,
the right time, anyway.
yeah. You'd wonder how it's going to affect ChatGPT now and the usage, but it'll also be interesting to see if companies can use it to actually grow their businesses, which is the main thing. If it works, it works. If it annoys users, Google doesn't care, does it? As we just
Yeah.
saw. So
Um, right. So.
I also put this one in. I thought it was like a marketing tip of the week because AI has become part of our toolkit. Why not actually mention this? OpenAI has now I know that we're mainly Gemini focused at the moment, and I'm using a lot of Claude now actually myself just to get up to Claude Code. But OpenAI do have a really handy academy, and in there they have prompts for marketing use. Very handy, free usage, so you can pop in here and have a look. But it's like ChatGPT for finance, for salespeople, for customer service. So many of these, but they develop all these different prompts you can use for social media, content marketing, and all those things. So very
Oh,
handy.
nice. Very good. Um, but then there's a video key in, I think you had as well.
Yeah, yeah. I put this one in. I really like this guy. His name is Edward Sturm. He does a podcast, but he like publishes daily. But he interviewed a guy called Charles Float there, or well, he screenshotted here, but I think they've had a conversation about this. But Google penalties are now becoming more permanent, and that changes everything. And they're right in some ways. So it seems that Google are becoming extremely annoyed at black hats trying to game their system, especially with all the new SEO. Because at the moment, white hat SEO is becoming a lot more difficult,
okay.
which is getting mentioned, getting your brand into these AI overviews, writing excellent content. You're not being rewarded like you used to be, above board and be white hat, while black hats are absolutely delighted at the moment. And why is that? Because LLMs and AI, they're featuring people who have this, who are mentioned online a lot. So obviously black hats can go and just like build links everywhere, do grey hat tactics in kind of press releases and get mentioned online. So, but if you're building these backlinks, I don't think you guys have ever had one of these, but I took over a client from another agency back in, Jesus, it was 2013, 2014, and they were quite aggressively building links, and obviously there was a lot were coming from directories overseas. They weren't relevant to the market, they weren't relevant to the business, and they got a penalty from it was called the Penguin update, where they got a message into their inbox and they said, oh, you're breaking our terms and conditions. Their website disappeared out of the search results. Their search console had a penalty in there, and it said your website is removed off Google until you resolve some of these issues, and you can do these reconsideration requests. So you can basically, I had to go in, put in all of the links that were pointing to the domain that these guys built, put them into a file, submit it to Google and say, hey, I've done all these, I removed it. They got back and said, yes, thank you so much. Well, they didn't say thank you so much. We got the email and they said, yes, you're reconsidered. And we got back in the search results and they went back in. Domain is still back today, but it was a bit of a tedious thing. It took I think about 6 weeks for me to solve back then. I can't imagine what it's like now. Maybe it's faster.
Yeah.
But according to Charles Float here, he's been, their Google are basically significantly raising the bar on reversals. So it's not just about the inbound links anymore. It's probably about the level of AI content and spammy content that you have on your website, what you've done to manipulate the search results, or any of those tactics happening. So if that is the case, I would hate if any clients of ours got if that happened to them. That's why Black Hat is, I respect Black Hats in a lot of ways because they're able to rank websites so quickly. But should you be doing it on your main brand, I wouldn't recommend it. And if you do it on your one brand, does that mean Google is going to tar you? If you do something really bad, can they target all the different accounts that you have in your Google Search Console? Possibly. And if that was the case, you'd be all your search consoles could fall out because he's done it on one website, he might have done it on all these. And now it's not as simply as taking away all the links and submitting a disavow. It's the reconsideration request. It seems is they're just coming back and saying, no, you have not met our guidelines. No, you've not met our guidelines. So it's a massive thing. In some ways, it gives rise to, if your business relies so heavily on web, maybe it's going to come to a time where you'll need more than one property. And not because I think the businesses will intentionally do Black Hat, but what happens if someone builds a load of links and does negative SEO towards your domain? What then?
Yeah.
Like we always keep a track of any link we build, so anything that we have, if we've gotten someone a mention through digital PR or we've submitted them to a local business directory because it's genuinely, like if we did a Cork business and there's a Cork business directory, like the Chamber of Commerce as an example, like that's a really good link. If that's the case and you get penalized for that kind of thing, it'll be very difficult to make sure that your website stays in search. I'd have backup domains in place. But it just goes to show that they mean business now.
Yeah, I also feel like you'd be kind of just living in fear if you were using those tactics. I mean, you wouldn't be able to relax. I mean, like every core update or comes out, it could be the moment you get caught for the tactics. But
they're so good. Like some Black Hats, I never really went down the Black Hat route because even when I started in SEO, people were getting caught as soon as Panda came out, when people were getting caught for hiding content behind images, having duplicate pages, all the same topics on the website, and just cannibalization, trying to get 1, 2, 3 in the search results. I was like, you know what, it's not worth it. You're better off just to follow the Google guidelines, become a brand. That's easy for me to say because that's our take on it. We're following kind of Google's guide but Black Hats have done a fantastic job as well because they've creating articles, creating websites and it's not like what we say to clients, and they probably give out shit for us saying something like, we like to work with clients for 6 to 12 months, and SEOs always take the mick out of us giving timelines like that. But like we like to build a few articles per month, work on some technical issues, and we like to do things slowly so that it's like naturally and organically happening. If clients have budgets where they have digital PR and they can get loads of links, or we have the ability to kind of do some nice statistical stuff that like gets a big PR campaign and we get really good results in a month, perfect. But black hats can do whatever they want, and they are getting into the search results very quickly. They're ranking in multiple places very quickly. They're doing a lot of parasite SEO, and it's mad. But now, if they run a risk of their black hat back end sites affecting some of their client front end stuff because they're all in the same Google Search Console account, it's such a risk.
Yeah. I guess that's as well. Obviously, they're probably like that short-term successes. Like they probably get there very quick, but don't stay there as long. I suppose that's the benefit of doing it properly.
No, but like the amount of money that they do make when they get there, like a lot
Yeah.
of black hats will target industries that are like gambling and stuff like that, where like they get massive high returns off affiliate or lead generation, and they'll stay there for ages. You can even see some SEOs that like they openly talk about this stuff online, and in my head, I'm like, what are you doing? Don't like. Obviously, Google looks at everything you're mentioning.
Yeah.
It's a vanity thing as well. You have to brag about like this tactic that I did to use it. But if now Google can come along and say, "Hang on, you've done that. I'm going to check
Yeah.
out what access you have. I'm going to ping you."
Do
You're
you
going to
even
have to.
find black hat tactics at this stage, like where Google probably know about most of them? Like it's almost it's
Yeah,
impressive to still find things that are going under the radar. Like
yeah. Well, you see, so much so black hat, but like you can buy. Say if there was I don't know, I owned a domain. I don't know. I better not quote something off the top of my head in case I mean something. So like best SEO audit website Ireland or something like that, right? And we had no links, we're starting fresh, but like you could go off, and one of the black hat tactics was you could find domains that exist, like one that fell out of search, but it's like 20 years old. It had really high authority links from like really popular places like Wikipedia or New York Times or something like that, and redirect it to your new domain, and
oh
that would work. Or you can even put a canonical URL where it pushed over. Like those tactics are getting in big trouble now. Like they are black hat, but they are ones that they do work.
yeah,
Um, but people are getting like Google is getting more sophisticated at backtracking and analyzing these things. Even reciprocal linking now, I believe, is getting people in trouble. Where it's like, oh, if I give you a link, you give me a link. If the
yeah.
ratio is too high, that's their entire backlink strategy. Like it can be, you might get in trouble for it. I don't know. You mightn't get the roar, but I don't know the algorithms. I know what works to a certain extent. Follow the industry experts. Implement it. We do a lot of testing ourselves in local markets, not on an international basis, but you can just tell that like these things, they do work. But yeah, it wouldn't be something now that I'd be implementing or going down, especially not with client work.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting though. But yeah. So helpful tool of the week. I threw this in as this one that's kind of relevant to us at the minute because we're kind of I suppose in the testing phase of switching from SEMrush to Ahrefs. But I think that we've all found a lot of really good things about it, things that we like. I think you're kind of still in between both, Cian. But like I think we found like which one of the main things you use it for is kind of looking at the organic traffic to websites. I think maybe we saw that it could potentially have a bit more of an accurate number rather than SEMrush.
Oh yeah, Ahrefs from what we can see, when we compare it, is way more accurate in the estimated traffic at the moment. Anyway,
Yeah. And like there was a big difference between them though, so it was interesting to see.
and
Some
by
of
the way,
the
that's only what I'm saying, that we have access to. That's when we look at our own GSC and compare it to Ahrefs. It's a lot closer than when we look at SEMrush. SEMrush seem to have a lot more inflated figures in the like 50 websites that we have access to. But
yeah,
might be that case with everything.
yeah. But yeah, it's a good tool. I think some of the things that I liked about it were some of the ways it showed how kind of how pages were moving in search rankings. So rather than just showing you the position they were at, it would show you exactly what position it came from to where it went
Yeah,
to.
if it's grown 7 or gone down 8 or
Exactly. It's kind of nicer than sometimes just seeing what position it's at. It gives you a bit more of a history. But that was
I
one of
like
the things
I
I
like
liked.
the built-in AI content
Oh
moderator.
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I can say this content is highly likely AI, and you're like, oh, yeah, it is.
Um, but yeah, no, I think it's definitely a good one to look at. And I think it's cheaper than SEMrush as well. So,
Yeah,
um,
a little bit, yeah. On the,
but
definitely for the secondary access
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
seats.
But yeah, so some of the trends of the last 7 days. So the Winter Olympics is topping it there. I actually meant to check when it was starting. I don't know if it has started or. Um, but what else is there? Oh, there's the Epstein files obviously in the news a lot at the minute. Ireland versus France last night. I think you probably don't want to talk about that.
Ah,
That was just disappointing.
disappointing. You know, like I was impressed with them in the second half. Like they really whatever was said in the dressing room, they dogged it out a bit in the second half. But first half, yeah, they just weren't firing on all cylinders. But look, definitely a bit of defensive work. But it's easy for me to sit on the couch eating crisps and criticize.
But yeah, they're the main ones. Well, that crash, the bus crash in Dublin.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was awful.
And at the very end there, I just quickly clicked on it before we started, but there was a Tesco Pano Chocolat recall. I think there was metal or something found in a load of Pano Chocolates in Tesco.
What?
Yeah, something like that.
I saw that with baby formula. Actually, there's the one that we had with our baby when he was younger. It was all recalled. There was only like one brand that wasn't recalled. It had some sort of chemical in it, or
Yeah, it's scary in general, just
Oh,
cold.
yeah. I don't want to mention brands, but like we used it, and I'm like, you'd be cracking it if your baby's
yeah.
taking like that.
Yeah,
It's like there should be like a high level of trust on that stuff.
yeah. So we got a few questions here for the experts. So we'll take some each, I think, today. So the first one here, I think. Do you want to take this, McKean?
Your favorite
Yeah.
question, Kane?
Why are marketers saying SEO is dead? Yeah, it's SEO has been dead, dying since 2012. Every algorithm update. Why is it becoming a more frequent thing now? Is because this AI mode has come out and there's a new technologies about. So people are getting more and more frustrated with the results that are coming from SEO. That's why I think more and more saying it's dead. Plus, it's just one person listens to another and it's gone. But actually, SEO is becoming more important because without SEO, your brand's not even going to show up in search engines now. But SEO isn't dead. All the LLMs still require your website and information to pull onto it. So SEO, your website is becoming more of I suppose, a database of information that all these different tools are going to use. So the accuracy is there. You're still going to have to try and fight for brand visibility in search, even on your brand name, your topic. Less clicks are going to come through to your website, but the clicks that are less likely to come through to your website are the ones that are informational based and not like service based, even though there'll be an impact across the board, definitely. But if you're not there, you have to have your game even higher than before. It's not like 10 blue links anymore. You've got to be that top brand in your industry. And it is a dogfight now, but I actually like when people say this because it just means they're not going to bother, which means people are still going
Yeah.
to get in there the whole time. So that's why they're saying it's dead. Mostly paid media people will say it, are people that are fed up with results taking a bit of time. It's very hard for business owners to see an ROI from SEO straight away, especially if they're throwing, a huge budget at paid media where results are in within a day, and they can watch it break even over time and how long it takes them to crawl back. But with paid media, if you're showing up in the SEO, your paid media efforts actually are supported by it because now less people going through to your website. Guess what? That means your Google remarketing pixel isn't going to be firing as much, which means you're going to be relying more on PMAX and all the AI campaigns that Google are going to push. So if you don't have the data, Google has the data. And where does Google know if you might have shown? In the search results. So if you're getting impressions under these things, then maybe PMAX you'll start showing because you were in these. Now I have no correlation or history for that, but yeah, I reckon that's the way it's going to go. You're going to be relying on this, but SEO, to me, is not dead.
And is it the way people look at like results from SEO now? Because I mean, historically it would have just always been traffic and clicks, right? But now, like, what's 60% of searches now have 0 clicks, so you need to kind of be looking at it a bit differently, right?
Yeah, it's your visibility. Like, if they're researching a topic and you're showing up there, is it helpful? Will they remember you if they go and do a deep dive and have a look? But again, if they see you, they look at your YouTube video, they do something along these lines, that's interacting with your content, and yeah, you're going to be able to remarket to these users in some way. Like, there has to be some sort of algorithm that's in place from Google to understand that, oh, these guys featured in here, maybe it'd be good to show their ad to these people too. It's going to be good to show, get people through to your website. But yeah, if your whole thing, the hardful thing here is people that were getting 100,000 clicks per month might now only be getting 50,000 clicks per month, and the graphs are going down where the impressions are going up.
Yeah.
The ones that are winning at the moment are the ones that never invested before, and they're just seeing more and more clicks and impressions go up because they've just gone into this new piece, and like they are using LLMs to generate content. But yeah, it's a different world. Like it's going to be a different feature.
Right. So next up, so what is evergreen content?
What is evergreen content? So evergreen content is like a piece of content, like a post or a page or a guide or an article or like a what is or a how to, that's kind of designed to stay relevant and useful over a very long period of time. So where you'd have things like, news articles or posts on trends, like, top SEO trends for 2005 or whatever. Like, evergreen content doesn't have an expiry date per se. Like, it should kind of keep driving traffic to your website for kind of months or sometimes even years after it was published, because the kind of core information doesn't change. Like, it would tend to focus on, I suppose, like the fundamentals of a topic, or it would focus on questions or things that people would always search for. So again, like how-to guides or testimonials or case studies, checklists, things like that. So say like I don't know, an example.
How to change a tire in a car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like say like a post on the history of rugby would be evergreen, whereas like a match report from last night would be a bit more time sensitive. And like evergreen content, it's important for SEO because the page tends to, again, stay relevant for a very long time with very minimal updates needed, because, as Keane said, how you change a tire doesn't necessarily change, but people will always need to know how to do it. So you only have to update it every now and again, and if you have a very good article, it'll keep a high position in search, it'll generate traffic, it can generate leads, and it can do that for like a very, very long time after you publish it. And it also like helps to establish like your author or your company or your brand as like a reliable kind of topic on that subject as well.
Yeah, just one problem with the evergreen content, which I used to love, because you used to maybe update a few facts per year, but that URL could remain the same. But unfortunately now, a lot of evergreen topics is exactly what an AI overview will answer. So now trending topics are something that they can cover, and you might be able to get more into some of these topics. But you do still need to have them on your website, these evergreen pieces, to show your expertise, as Mark said.
Okay. Right. So the next one. So I'll take this one myself there. So what is a quality score in Google Ads? So basically, this is like kind of a score that when you're setting up and making a Google ad campaign, this is a score that Google gives you that's kind of based on like the relevancy and the quality of the different ad components that are inside of your ad. So this could be your graphics, your actual creative, your headlines, long headlines, descriptions, and how relevant they are and the quality of them compared to in regards to the target keyword that you're sort of going after. So if you're a roofer in Cork trying to find business in Cork, you'll be scored based on how relevant your ads are to the people it is that you're looking to go for. So say if the ads are points at people in Cork rather than people in Dublin, if they've got all the different types of roofing materials and stuff, that it has relevant information for the people you are going after. And then in terms of after you've posted the ads, like your ad score could be improved by things like click-through rate. So
That's one of the pillars. Yeah, click through. It's a big pillar.
so if you're clearly doing well, your click-through rate, if it's higher than, if it's 10% or something, if it's a high number, then your quality score can kind of improve over time then that way as well. So there's things you can do on both sides kind of before you post it and after it's gone live. And then if you have a higher score, you're kind of rewarded for that in a sense too, because the higher your Google score is, the less you'll end up paying for those clicks over time as well. So it kind of serves both you and Google, to have ads that are very relevant, very specific to the keywords you're going after. But yeah, that's kind of the main.
Perfect. Yeah.
I have a question on that. Like, would your landing page feed into your quality score?
Yeah, it can. Yeah, because if you're sending, and this is something that stops with spam, right?
Yeah.
So if say if we could have the perfect ad on let's use roofing as an example, but then it takes me to a website that's about SEO. It's Google's looking to cancel that, so it does follow through and have a look at the topic of the page, because Google can use their tag to scan the page that it's that's scrolling. So,
Yeah. So like
Yeah,
if
so
your
it's
ad
important
is
to be
for
very-
red shoes, but your link is going to like the homepage of a shopping site.
yeah, a little bit less. They want to make sure that it's the same, even if it was like general footwear. If your ad was about red shoes and your ad went to the main category for just shoes, you get a higher relevancy score if you went to the actual page about red shoes. So it really does narrow it down.
Right, so I think we have one or two more. So how to get featured in ChatGPT?
Well, I hate to tell you, but it's SEO. There's GEO, LLMs, AIO. It's all, they need to be able to scan your website, pull the information, and bring it in. The one thing that ChatGPT tends to do, I believe, is they look at something called consensus online. So they're trying to be the most trusted answer and not just give like 10 blue links. They want to give the most trusted answer. So to get into those, there needs to be this consensus that you are the one to look at. So in other words, if we were looking at, like, say for us as a good SEO company in Ireland, do we feature in there? Have we featured in multiple places online that reference us as that source? And if we're not mentioned in that consensus, but all competitors are, you might not feature in that search. So that's the one difference between the LLMs. It's looking for this consensus around that it is. Eventually, that will be manipulated, and that's what we were speaking about earlier, where the black hat SEOs are able to go out and put their name on 250 different websites in the space of an hour, even less probably. Like, that's how they're getting this consensus one straight away, and that's how manipulation is happening in a lot of these at the moment. But yeah, it's still going to be the quality of the content, your expertise. It'll come down to your authority, but like ChatGPT, most LLMs are still using Google search results in some format, and Google data to feature in these. But yeah, on top of that, then I just kind of think it's that consensus one.
Okay. So that's us for this week. Cheers, lads, for that, and hopefully, we should be back again to our kind of weekly schedule from here on in.
We'll see. See you, lads.
See you lads.
Okay. Cheers, lads. Bye-bye.